Hi guys, and welcome back to another fly tying tutorial. So what you see in the vise is a glass bodied cruncher. So without further ado, let's get into it. The hook in the vise is a Hackle H230 barbless hook. This one's at size 10, it's on a medium wire and it's finished in black nickel. Now I do like to tie this fly on the H200 as well, which is a little heavier and it's got a straight point. But that's when I'm using the fly for pulling. For this is more akin to fishing higher in the water column, and it's much better suited to fishing slowly with a figure of 8 retrieve. So initially I'm going to start with Glo-Brite number 4. Floss, and I'm going to catch a little bit just in behind the eye here to get some material on the hook. I'll just take that away. So the reason I'm taking it away so soon is I want a solid block of colour, which you've seen from the start. It's quite a bright body. Now the tailing fibres, I'm simply using a hen hackle, and I'm going to strip off a good pinch, maybe a thumbnail's worth of fibres from the stem. I'll pinch that together, and what I want is about the length of the shank of the hook. So I'll bring that to the back of the hook where my fly is going to finish. I'll get one turn in there just to hold it into place. I'm going to grab them fibres. I want to make sure that the tail stays on the top. So once I've got the fibres sitting on the top of the shank, I'm going to maintain my grip with my left hand, and I'm going to bring the Glo-Brite down the shank of the hook. And you see I'm getting nice touching turns here, and I've got my tailing in place. Now I'm just going to take away the clump at the front. I'll be able to tidy that when I come back up the body. Now what I'm using here for the body is the body glass. It's a hen's product and it's really versatile, and I'm going to use it on a number of different patterns. But it's fairly stretchy, so I can do this with it, but I don't want to tie it in with this amount of bulk. So a little tip is to come in with a lighter, just melt the end, lick your thumb and forefinger, and just pull that out until it thins down. Now, I don't know how well you'll see it on the camera, but I've just got a little tag here now that I can catch in. So I'm going to come in where I finished off my floss. I've just rolled that onto the top of the shank, and I'm going to come back up the shank of the hook all the way up to the thorax area. Now you'll notice, let me just find something to point with. I've got a little bit of a bulk here. Now I want the taper to go up the way, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of work with my floss. Now with floss it's easy. I want to try and flatten out the floss before I bring it up, so I'm going to just give it a little spin anti-clockwise, and this will flatten out the floss. And then again, using touch and turns all the way down to the bottom, I'm going to come all the way up and build that body up just near the thorax here. It's going to require a bit of extra work, and I'll probably put a couple of turns in that I didn't want there, so I just come back and just get it so that you're happy. It doesn't need to be perfect, because the glass body as it comes up is going to hide quite a bit of that. Now once you've built that bulk, you can come in with your whip finish tool, whoops, and just cast off the Glo-Brite. So far so good. Next then, I want to cast on some nano silk. This is black at 12/0 from Simplify, and I'm just going to catch it in behind the eye, and I'm going to just get a generous amount on. So when you're when you're doing any kind of sort of nymph style fly, you want to get your proportions right, and I find the thorax is where it can often go wrong. So you build your body, and then if you've not got the proportions right on the thorax, it doesn't look right. So the way I do it is I'm looking for about 1/3 of the total length of the body of the fly. People will have different opinions on how big or how small the thorax should be, but this seems to work well enough for my needs. So I'm getting a few wraps in at the front here, and once I've got that in place, initially I want to really stretch out this material. Now this is the point where you're hoping that you've tied it in correctly, because if not, it's pinging off the fly and I'll look like a village idiot. But it seems to, once you've got one turn in, I'm fairly confident it is secured in there. So I'm just putting quite a bit of pressure on, and as I come up the body, I'm starting to ease that pressure off, which is going to help with the taper of the fly. Just easing it up, and then by the time it gets to the thorax area, I'm virtually just letting it fall onto the body as it will. So I'm going to bring my thread up, right up alongside, and then on my side I'm just going to catch that in. A couple of turns. Don't be too hasty when you're securing this. What you'll see I'm doing is I'm getting a turn over the material, and then I'm getting a couple of turns in front, because when I come to stretch this up and cut away, what I don't want is it pinging back up the body. So that's looking pretty good. Now the tailing fibres, to get them out of the way, I'll just lick my thumb and forefinger and damp them down. It just keeps it neat and tidy and out of the way. So the thorax itself, what I'm going to be using is some Peacock herl. It's been dyed black, and I'm going to take 2 strands from the string, and at the bottom I'm going to just take away the waste. So I've got the thicker end of the Peacock herl here. I'm going to catch that in at the thorax. Now I'm going to come all the way to the front. Now another thing that happens if you're new to fly tying, it takes a bit of getting used to. You've got to leave yourself some room at the front to attach your hackle as well as build your head. So make sure you leave a little bit of room. Then I can come over with my Peacock herl. To the front of the fly. I'll get a couple of turns over that just to hold it into place, and once I'm happy, I'm going to get another couple of quick turns, then a few turns in front. Then I'm coming with my snips and just take away the excess Peacock herl. Now again, I'm just going to damp down my thumb and forefinger of my left hand and slick all that back, just to get everything out of the way. The next thing then is to attach your hackle, and again I'm going to use hen on this occasion. I've got a feather here I've prepared, and what I want to do is get that into my clip like so. Slick it all back, get the little Christmas tree going on, and then I can come in with my snips and just take away the top of the Christmas tree. So just at the bit I've left to tag in, I can catch that on like so. Now what you don't want to do is have it too long. So the feathers here are far too long. I want this body to show when it's in the water. So I'm going to be looking for 2 to 3 turns. But again, keep your eye on it and you'll know when it's right. So I'll just bring my hackle up. I'm going to encourage it to flow back from the stem. And just while I'm doing this part, I would fish this as I would any other cruncher really, or that type of pattern. I would either fish it straight through on a floating line, or perhaps on a washing line setup, which we discussed in the video last week. But either way, it would be a kind of a top dropper or a point fly. I wouldn't have this in the middle. So I've caught in my hackle. I'm going to let go of my hackle pliers now. I'm going to sweep everything back. It does help if you lick your thumb and forefinger, just catches all them stray fibres in. And then what we're going to do is build a nice neat head. And this is where for my money, this is where nano silk earns its keep. You get really neat finishes with it. So I've got that into place. I know I've secured this in, I can just pull that away. And then I can come in with my whip finish tool. Three turns. And then secure it in. To finish the fly off then, I'm going to use some Solaris Bone Dry. It's a UV resin. I've got into the habit lately of just using super glue, but I don't think you get the same kind of finish. I don't know why, it seems to just sink into the thread. I'm just going to work my way carefully around the eye. I don't want to get a load of resin stuck in the hackle. And then once I've done that, now I'm pretty sure the eye is clear this time, but if the eye was full of resin, as it sometimes does, I'm just going to come in with a small feather just to ensure the eye is clear. I think it was, but belts and braces. Then I can bring my UV lamp in and cure off the fly. And there we go. I hope you enjoyed it, folks, and I'll see you all in the next one.